This is Action News Channel 151 at 6. We're live, local, and late-breaking for you.
Leafa Treeman and Avocado for Channel 151 News. Our top story involves the ongoing efforts to find a molecule on the loose, identified as glyphosate, killing all plants and weeds in sight. This molecule has been striking multiple areas all along California, going by the name Roundup.
That's right, Leafa. This molecule, shown here, has been going around and posing as a crucial enzyme to the cell walls of plants. It blocks the path of plant growth through competitive inhibition of the EPSP enzyme that leads to improper growth development of cell structures.
The authorities have released information about the suspect. Some key features of glyphosate are that it has been spotted as a white, odorless solid. Court records show that the suspect was first synthesized in 1970 by the Monsanto Corporation. Ever since, it has been wreaking havoc in the fields across the state.
According to accounts of several eyewitnesses, the molecular formula for glyphosate is C3H8NO5P, and a police sketch has been released to the public to identify the structure, as shown on screen now.
For more, we go to the street to talk to our investigator, Beatrice, at the Hive, to see more about the panic going on. The killer that is glyphosate is harming bees left and right. Overall, honeybees exposed to glyphosate are having a hard time returning home and finding food. The cause of their starvation is due to two factors, Roundup being a chelator and a potent antibiotic. First, Roundup as a chelator holds on to the needed essentials needed for bees' proper health and makes it unavailable. So even if the plant has the needed minerals, the bee cannot receive it, and therefore the bee remains malnourished. Bees rely on certain bacteria to digest their food, and the antibiotic property of glyphosate causes the bee to incorrectly digest their food. Yes, bees are eating, yet they cannot digest their food correctly, and they lack the essential nutrients. As a result of the two factors, the bees have exhibited poor learning performance, decreased ability to smell, and poor memory. Bees exposed have a higher risk of colony collapse disorder. This is where many bees in the hive vanish and the hive remains dysfunctional. The population has decreased 50% from 5 million to 2.5 million, and sadly the damage still continues. Now back to you in the studio.
For more information on this ongoing investigation, we go now to an interview with one of the lead experts following this case. Here with us today is Robert Berry, expert in herbicides. He has spent years working on investigating the suspect's mode of action and has experience working in fields investigating the effects of glyphosate on the environment. Good morning, Mr. Berry.
Good morning. Please call me Rob.
Of course. So glyphosate works by inhibiting the mechanistic pathways critical for plant growth. Can you shed some light on how glyphosate works?
Sure. So first off, glyphosate is an active ingredient in the herbicide Roundup, which, like you said, disrupts the shikimate pathway and the synthesis of aromatic amino acids critical for cell wall growth. Now, under normal conditions, a molecule called phosphenolpyruvate, or PEP, is substituted at its sp2 carbon center via an addition-elimination reaction of a hydroxyl group of the shikimic acid. This entire reaction is catalyzed by an enzyme called EPSP synthase, which eventually produces EPSP, or 5-enolpyruvyl shikimate 3-phosphate.
What happens when glyphosate steps in?
So glyphosate steps in during the synthesis of EPSP and prevents its formation. Think of glyphosate like a criminal impersonator trying to steal somebody's identity. The impersonator dresses up like their victim, acts like their victim, and even chats with their group of friends. Ultimately, the impersonator gets so close to the friends, coworkers, and family of their victim that they ruin their life by effectively replacing them.
Does the identity theft get resolved?
In this case, no. The impersonator wins out and the victim loses everything. Like this example, glyphosate mimics a function of the PEP intermediate by acting as a competitive inhibitor that prevents the formation of the EPSP enzyme. This leads to deficient synthesis of vital proteins for plant metabolism and plant structure. Ultimately, the plant affected by glyphosate dies from contact.
Well, with the nearly 2 million tons of this herbicide used since the 1980s, it only makes sense to be wary of the effects of this chemical on the environment.
Of course, studies by the International Agency for Research on Cancer and the European Food Safety Authority have found credible links of the chemical as a carcinogen on mammals and insects such as honeybees.
Well, Mr. Rob Berry, thank you for your insight and time.
Thank you for having me on. Please call me anytime.
Now, on screen, a dramatic recreation of glyphosate in action.
In conclusion, glyphosate is a killer and it still wreaks havoc today. Here in Channel 151 News, I'm Leafa Treeman.
I'm Avocado.
And thank
you for watching.